this was probably the most hardest episode to sit through, because the ending just was such an emotional kick to the heart. Like, it really hurt you in a sense. Once Kazuhiro realizes what these kids have become, in a sense, when he kind of cut back to the flashback and he saw these kids be happy-go-lucky, kind of teasing Kazuhiro about loving Noriko, and then Noriko just says, "I love you too," and then it just killed me. Like, I literally was. I was on the floor in tears because I just felt this genuine pain in my heart. Like, it was like last week's episode was a genuine pain in my heart, and this week's didn't take it away. This week just personified it and just kind of killed me even more. Once he just realized what these kids have become, and he just breaks down and cries. Like, you see Katsuhira finally, like, emote. Like, you see him cry. Like, you see his emotions just come out. And since when he realizes what these kids have become, he just breaks down. You just see this kid just break down. It was so emotionally impactful. It was one of the most emotionally impactful scenes I've seen in a long time, just because you see someone who hasn't emoted in a very long time, hasn't felt anything, just break down. He just realizes what these kids have become and just breaks. Like, literally just, and it ends there. It literally ends there. It ends with him screaming out in agony because he's actually feeling these emotions. He's crying. He's feeling these emotions, and it ends then. I thought that's one of the most powerful way to end an episode, just by using that scene, because it really was an emotionally impactful scene. Even Nico and Hisomu just sang like, what's happening? Like, he's crying. Like, they were shocked. Mutsumi just standing like, I knew this was going to happen. And since because what happens is Nico kind of says to Mutsumi, look, what's happened to the people who haven't actually, like, got out, haven't gone to society? Because really, we find out a lot about the previous Kizuna program. We find out what really did happen. And since 19 kids were admitted into the Kizuna program, and what happened was they kind of wanted to actually kind of pair a lot of children together. And since, say if one person, like, kind of got hit, if it was dispatched about 19 people, it would be equally dispatched. Once it got to that person, it wouldn't be that painful. Since once it actually kind of hit them, it wouldn't be painful at all. But that was a fatal mistake, because one kid actually felt that pain 5 times, since the 5 times as much as that pain. And then what happens is the pain actually lingered further than that, and the child happened to be Noriko, because Noriko in this episode kind of went a bit off the deep end. She actually jumped, and before she can jump, she fainted, because what happens, Mutsumi actually fills in Katsuhira about what happened. And since she didn't actually jump, she'd actually kind of just fainted, because Katsuhira actually kind of gets a feeling back, in a sense. She kind of is a really conflicting sense, but basically what happens is the mayor actually visits and says, look, we've got to shut down the lab for a little while. And after that point, she says, okay, I'm going to show you firsthand what's actually happened, the results in this program. And he's all like, don't worry, kind of see what you've done, it's all good. And then she goes, as long as we're still bounded. And then she runs out, goes to the top of the thing, and then tries to jump. And then after that point, you don't know what happens with her, because you see her jump, but what's later revealed is she actually fainted. But then what happens is Mutsumi actually fills everyone in on what really did happen, fills in Katsuhira, Hisomu, and Nico. In this episode, Hisomu really was a kind of a cool character. He generally kind of just had this kind of caring attitude towards himself. I was kind of like, I liked his character. And then, yeah, after that point, it just hit crazy, like, depressing times. And since we actually also got Tenga talking to Chidori, that scene kind of conflicted me a little bit. That was the scene that really kind of went, I'm not too sure how I felt about that scene, because I understand that Tenga doesn't know how to feel right now, and since he never has liked a person, nor has he never been liked by a person. So his initial reaction, his immediate reaction is to say to Chidori, can you outright reject me, in a sense? And she goes, how would that make me feel any better by me rejecting you? And you can understand what that means, because yeah, he's not helping the situation at all. He's really not helping her by saying, look, can you reject me? He's not helping that situation at all. But that's what he thinks is the right thing to do. Same thing that happened last week with Katsuhira hugging Chidori. That scene, he did that because he thought it was the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing to do because it affected her even more. And we really do see that Chidori is still lamenting over what happened last week. So that whole scene is conflicting, but you can see what really was going on behind the closed doors, because Tenga doesn't know how to feel right now. He really doesn't know what is going on inside himself. He has never had this emotion before. And really, yeah, he literally just didn't know how to feel. So he outright said that, and it didn't really help the situation at all. So that's kind of the main thing. And this episode really did start off depressing. It wasn't like an episode that really kind of went in happy-go-lucky, went into depressing, and just carried on like that. It went into depressing, kind of went to happy-go-lucky, then went back into depressing, like straight fracking away after that point. And then, yeah, I mean, when you find out Noriko actually was feeling 19 people's kind of sensation, since 19 people sensation she was feeling after what happened with the whole Kizuna Pro and kind of failing it the first time round. She was feeling 19 people's kind of sensations, like pain and anything like that. And since when someone was running, someone was hitting the like chair with her butt, she was feeling that pain. She was feeling everything, but personified 19 times. And since she was kind of feeling that times by 19, because it basically lingered and it basically broke her. And then after that point, she really could not like she can't go through life like normally because she was feeling all this pain. So you actually had to administer like these injections into her just to live normally. Since it nullified all of her emotions, all her senses, that's why she's always deadpan, because she's actually had these injections put into her to make her stop feeling these like kind of pains that she's having. So it all just makes sense. But still, it doesn't actually just change the fact that that whole scene, when you see her screaming in agony, it generally killed you inside. You don't want to see this happen to her because, again, once Katahira realised what happened to these kids, you didn't want to see anything bad happen to these kids because these kids are happy-go-lucky. They didn't know much what was going on. It doesn't change my interpretation from last week in the sense, the whole last week in the sense, you will try to advance humanity in one way, shape or form, but others have got to suffer for it. Others have to suffer for this advancement in humanity. You're going to try. In your damnedest, you're thinking what you're doing is correct, but people have got to suffer for it, and this was no different. This episode personified that. It personified that whole interpretation for me. It really just kind of hit home that yes, you're trying to do this, you're trying out your greater good to do this, but what you're trying to do there isn't right. And since they didn't really suspect the whole entire thing to kind of fail, and one person feel this emotion 5 times, they didn't really expect that to happen. But it did, and then it just kind of just lingered. And then some people couldn't even go back to society because they couldn't accept their own sensations. They couldn't accept their own pain because pain left them. Some people could, since Katahira has been one of those people that actually managed to go back because it had a minuscule amount of their senses. But some people couldn't go back in society at all. Some people had to just kind of stay. That's the people that you kind of he kind of goes over to and sees. He goes to Yuki first and just kind of tries to like kind of get the emotion out of him. But you think at that point, he's actually going to hug him, but actually doesn't. He lets the dragonfly sit on his finger. And at that point, he kind of just realizes what's going on and just kills him inside. But it's like the beginning of the episode as well. In a sense, at the beginning of the episode, it kind of just reveals that none of them talk to each other. None of them are actually making communications with each other besides Hosomu. He's the only one who really had talked to anyone else. But what happens is none of them actually want to talk to each other because they didn't want to feel anything what happened there before. And since basically, don't do anything drastic until the end of summer. We won't talk to each other. We won't do anything with each other. Don't feel any pain. Don't do anything until the end of summer. But Maki really didn't kind of change. And since once Yuta went to speak to her, she did not change at all. She still had the whole emotion of don't talk to me. In a sense, she says don't talk to me. In a sense, and he goes why? And since it's the end of summer already, and since the whole program's finished, why won't you talk to me? And then you kind of get the whole idea that Maki really wants to distance herself entirely with that group. She doesn't want to kind of remember anything that happened. And Yamada, holy freaking Christ, can I have any more hatred for one person in humanity than Yamada? In the beginning scene, when they go back to school, Yamada's kind of just saying, like, some people went to the beach and put all these fireworks in summer. Some people actually had to go and do tests of courage and stuff like that. You can know he was speaking directly to Todori and everyone like that. He was speaking directly to them. But and then when Tenga goes over to him and goes, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then he actually knocks him over and then says, why are you saying anything? You're the only one that can feel any pain. I was like, oh, freaking hell. Stop being like that. I just wanted to punch him in the face. I wanted to get up and just off my seat, go into the anime, to punch him in the face, because that was terrible what he said just then. Because these people were feeling emotions they didn't know what to feel. And I don't know what happened to Yamada's character, because Yamada in the past, because we find out that Mutsumi and him were actually like junior researchers in the actual original Kizuna program, because really what happens is Mutsumi, once they meet Katahira and everyone else like that, she goes, you haven't changed in 12 years. So you kind of understand she has a past with him. But it's revealed that actually she was a part of the original Kizuna program. She was a part of it. But she was a junior researcher, and so was Yamada. So I don't know what happened with Yamada to change him into this like kind of way. And since he really was kind of, in some regards, in the pictures we saw, and since like little stills we got, he seemed kind of normal. But then when now he's a complete arsehole. I hate his character. Like, just punch him in the face. But the one scene that kind of just boosted my spirits ever so slightly, and then it kind of just diminished once Katahira felt that emotion from Noriko, was when Nico said, can we just be friends? And then Katahira goes, yeah, sure, we can be friends. And he goes, it's that simple. And it kind of just hit home the fact that actually these people really haven't been friends outside the Kizuna program. Some people have, some people haven't. And then really now, she's realised how easy it is to get friends. And it kind of boosted my spirits slightly. In a sense, that was kind of the scene that really boosted my spirits. And after that point, once Katahira actually kind of went into that kind of underground thing, went to the train, once the mayor was leaving and Mutsumi kind of saw him, kind of just destroy my emotions after that point. And I just kind of just felt these emotions I should not be feeling, and I was, and it killed me inside. Like this episode, I was crying like a load. Like I haven't outright cried twice in 2 weeks in a very long time, and this one kind of did it. This is the anime that finally did it. This is a masterpiece of an anime. This deserves to be longer than 12 episodes. It deserves at least be 24. The fact that this is just so freaking great, and I just don't want to see it end. It's ending in 2 weeks, if I remember correctly. I don't want to see it end at all because it's so fracking good. It's a masterpiece. It's so great. Characters themselves all have their own personalities, and Nico has just been the cutest thing to happen to anime since, I don't know, the inception of anime, probably. Still, I just don't want to see anything bad happen to her. In a sense, when she feels bad and she starts crying, I'm like, no, don't do it. You don't deserve this much pain. You're too cute to deserve this much pain. And when she says, in my 17 years of being on Earth, this is probably the best summer I've ever had, I was like, don't. It's actually one of those moments that just really gets to you. But overall, what can I say? It was an amazing episode. Kind of made me cry a lot. Didn't really want to feel these emotions, but I loved it overall. So yes. With all that said, I have been the driver. If you leave a like, do leave a like, it does help quite a bit. If you enjoy my content as a whole, please do leave a sub, it does help me quite a bit. But with all that said, I have been the driver, and I will see you guys later.